So President Trump just announced he's sending over 200 federal agents and National Guard troops to Chicago starting September 5th, and Illinois officials are threatening an all-out war to stop him. This isn't just another immigration sweep, guys. We're talking armored vehicles, federal troops, military units, and the biggest deployment in a major American city since the 2020 riots. And that's not even the worst part. The Illinois governor is screaming about illegal military occupation while Chicago's mayor signed orders to resist federal law enforcement and the unknown number of National Guards that are going to be there operating. Pentagon sources did confirm military planning has been underway for weeks, with Guard units already on standby to provide tactical support and security perimeters for federal agents conducting arrest and enforcement operations. And here's what nobody's telling you about what's really happening in the Windy City that forced Trump to deploy both federal agents and military assets to restore order in the sanctuary jurisdiction. So my name's Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway. I'm also publisher of the Illinois Review and a White House correspondent for the Next News Network. So we are a growing channel, and every like, comment, and subscription helps us bring you the news that the mainstream media does not want to cover. So please hit that subscribe button right now. But go ahead and check this out. Over 200 Homeland Security officers are preparing to surge in Chicago for what sources describe as a month-long blitz targeting the city's sanctuary status. They're staging out of the Great Lakes Naval Base with armored trucks, ICE agents, Border Patrol, FBI, ATF, DEA, and US Marshals. This is the real deal. I've got a video of this. Check this out.
Tom Homan says the planning is still being discussed. However, a large contingent of ICE agents will be sent to Chicago after Labor Day.
We don't want the bad guy to know what we're sending. It'll be a large contingent.
A reference, too, from President Trump on Chicago crime as he posts on social media today, in part saying, quote, "The people are desperate for me to stop the crime, something the Democrats aren't capable of doing. Stay tuned."
We've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there.
The military base at Great Lakes, according to this email obtained by NBC5, notes that 3 federal agencies, including ICE, may be housed at the base for a mission focused on downtown Chicago area from the 2nd to the 30th of September. And there is a potential to support National Guard units.
People are incredibly fearful. There's a lot of anxiety. It will only incite chaos, and it will not drive down violence.
Mayor Johnson's chief of staff and other city leaders offered updates to reporters and aldermen today. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling spoke on the online briefing.
The Chicago Police Department does not, cannot, and will not interfere with the work that federal agents are doing.
So, White House border czar Tom Homan confirmed a large contingent of ICE agents will arrive after Labor Day, but he's deliberately keeping the exact number secret to avoid tipping off of the targets. And that's a smart move when you're dealing with a city that's basically declared itself a federal no-go zone. Now, here's where the Democrats are losing their minds. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is threatening to sue under the something called the Posse Comitatus Act, which we all know what that is, but let's explain it. That's the 1878 law that says you can't use federal troops for domestic law enforcement without state permission. But Trump has options here that Pritzker does not want to talk about. The president could invoke the Insurrection Act to bypass those restrictions entirely, and that would give him broad authority to deploy the National Guard wherever he sees fit in Chicago. And honestly, looking at what's been happening in that city, it's probably justified. Let me ask you this in the comments. Do you guys think Trump has the right to step in when local officials refuse to protect their own citizens? Because that's exactly what's happening here. And Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order directing city resources to protect illegal immigrants instead of helping federal law enforcement. And think about that for a second. And this is just mind-blowing. He's protecting those people over his own citizens. And this is where it all changes. The data Democrats don't want you to shows Chicago recorded 266 homicides in just August. That's down 32% from last year, but there's still a lot. And shootings are down 36% citywide, but they're not reporting it. And they're not telling you those numbers are still catastrophically high for any civilized city. What we're talking about is a 25-year in homicides just 2 years ago. And Trump's been calling out Chicago's incompetent leadership for years. He's labeled the city a complete mess with failed policies that put illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens. And now he's backing up those words with action. And this operation mirrors what we've seen in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles. In D.C., nearly 2,000 federal agents cleared 48 homeless encampments, and violent crime dropped 26% overnight. Carjackings, 83% down. Robberies down 46%. And results the results are speaking louder than the Democrats' rhetorics or their excuses. Because Chicago Police Lieutenant Larry Snelling said his officers won't interfere with federal operations, but they also say they're not going to help with immigration enforcement. So they're basically sitting on the sidelines with federal agents do the job local officers are refusing to do. And community organizers and immigrant advocates are mobilizing what they call rapid response teams. The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights expanded hotline staffing and hired more deportation lawyers. And they're prepping for what they know is coming. And that is accountability for sanctuary city policies that have protected criminals instead of citizens. So if you guys got value from this update, please tap subscribe because my opinion is next. And also, Patriots, this is about more than just Chicago. This is about whether we're going to have a country with borders and laws or whether we're going to let radical Democrat politicians turn America into cities and lawless zones. So every like, comment, and subscription helps us fight back against the mainstream media narrative. So do your part for patriotism by hitting that notification bell. So here's what this really comes down to. For too long, Democrats-controlled cities have thumbed their noses at federal law while American citizens suffer the consequences. And Chicago's sanctuary city policies have created a magnet for illegal immigrants while violent crime terrorizes law-abiding residents. And President Trump made a promise to restore law and order to our republic, and I voted for that. I know you did too. And he's keeping that promise despite fierce resistance from the radical left. When local officials refuse to enforce immigration law, when they prioritize protecting illegal aliens over American citizens, and when they turn their cities into sanctuaries for criminals, the federal government has not just the right, but the duty to step in. And the Posse Comitatus Act wasn't written to protect sanctuary cities from immigration enforcement. It was written to protect military occupation of civilian areas. But when civilian leadership fails this spectacularly, when American citizens are being shot in the streets while their own mayor protects the people who shouldn't be here in the first place, that's not civilian leadership. That's like dereliction of duty. And Governor Pritzker can scream about federal overreach all he wants, but the Constitution, it's clear. Immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, and Chicago doesn't get to opt out of federal law just because they don't like it. What we're witnessing is a restoration of constitutional order. For 4 years under Biden, sanctuary cities operated with complete impunity. They released dangerous criminals back into the streets. They refused to cooperate with ICE. They spent taxpayer money protecting people who broke our laws to get here. And that, it's ending now. Every American who believes in the rule of law should support this operation. Yes, it's dramatic. Yes, it's unprecedented in scope, but so is the crisis created by decades of failed Democrat policies in places like Chicago. And the real question isn't whether Trump has the authority to do this. The real question is why it took so long. American citizens deserve to be safe in their own communities. They deserve leaders who put America first, not America last. And this operation will succeed because it has to succeed. Our republic depends on equal enforcement of the law, regardless of which party controls City Hall. And Chicago is about to learn that lesson the hard way. I was about to swear, but we'll see here in the next few weeks.